listening to the Mark Bradford Alchemy for Life podcast.
2019 is almost over. Yikes. Well, hey there. Christmas and the new year is just around the corner, so we're having a 2019 wrap-up. It's been another year of podcasts, pretty much every Sunday. I hope you've been able to join me for at least one of them. If this is your first, then hey, welcome aboard. I hope you like it. You'll find this one's a little bit different in that I'm doing a summary and kind of a bullet list, and I hope to touch on a number of things versus stay focused on one subject and go from there. So first off, let's go back and review some homework. And it's not bad homework, it's actually good homework and it's fun. And as you know, these are only 10 minutes long, so I mean, how much homework can you get, really? One of the things I asked you to think about a few episodes back was about random thoughts, not mine, yours. And I gave you a method, a fairly simple method to write them down in such a way that they could actually become something or at least identify them. So if you've listened to the Random Thoughts episode and have that written down, awesome. If you want to share it with me, even more awesomeness-ish. If you haven't written it down, go back and do that because you really will get something out of that. Trust me. It may just seem like random stuff, but it's a lot more than random stuff. Your mind's trying to tell you something, or you're trying to tell your mind something, and one of you's not listening. The other homework has to do with the episode on passion. Again, as a recap, we're told to follow our passion. We're told to go and do that thing, and then you feel left out and you're not a cool kid because, I'm good at some stuff, but I don't really have that passion thing. It's because you're looking in the wrong place. Passion isn't this big grand thing. Passion is the thing behind the thing. It's the drive behind something. And it can have so many manifestations. It can have so many, it can come out as so many different things. So instead of saying, boy, you sure have a passion for flowers. Well, the person may have a passion for beauty or for color or for arrangement or for some kind of art that only can be accomplished as a florist. So you probably have something like that. And again, I'm not one of those people that says we all have to pursue our passions. Well, do we? Or do we just enjoy them in however they fit in our lives and stop beating yourself up? So if you haven't done the kind of the thinking on passion, let me know. I've had a number of people come to me and explain what that meant to them, and someone really had a great post on it. In fact, on LinkedIn, I did. Max, if you're out there, thank you. And I actually posted it on LinkedIn so that other people could understand it. Another bit of homework had to do with the framework episode and figuring out what the framework of your life was. And it didn't have to do with a support group per se. It had to do with those things in your life that you kind of anchor onto. And it can be something as simple as a hobby, or the ship in a bottle and going for a walk, but it's the thing that you're going to turn to. So if you haven't listened to the framework episode, please do and see if you can figure out that. Working backwards, there was an episode, Motivation or Information. In that episode, we talked about how I'm here to give you information and not really motivation. Maybe 10% of it is that, or maybe it works out that a little bit more for you in particular happens to be motivating. But everybody and their mother's doing motivation. Everyone says, yay, you can do it. And, oh, by the way, can I have some money now that I got you all excited? Clearly, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to give you information and help you figure stuff out. So go back and listen to that. That may actually help you sort through and wade through a lot of the stuff going on in the world of people who have podcasts and do coaching and all that stuff. We also talked about if what you're doing sucks. Does what you're doing sucks? And I say that to all the entrepreneurs and the creatives out there, which is probably a vast majority of people listening that have that little spark, and that it's hard not to go, boy, does this suck? Is what I'm doing, does it just suck? So go back and listen to that if you want, if you haven't done any homework on that, to see if you're doing that to your stuff, because you really could be causing yourself a lot of heartache and limiting what you can do if you just keep thinking what you do sucks. But by the same token, people who are creative and people who create projects, and people who just want to do a good job do that all the time. You can't turn it off completely, but just don't let it overwhelm you. That's just a sampling of recent episodes. There are many. So feel free to peruse and go back. If you find something in one of the episodes that you find particularly engaging or enlightening or interesting in some way, even if it's not an intended way, please reach out to me and let me know. I love to get the feedback. And as you see, I like to repost it. I won't repost your stuff if you don't want me to, but you can reach out to me on Instagram and on the website and all of the other millions of other ways to connect with me. So I'm always happy to listen to your feedback. That's the past. Let's do the present. The present is that coming up shortly, or we're already immersed in it, is this holiday season. It's the suck on your time, energy, and resources. It's the messing with you. And we covered that in the revisiting balance in the holidays. So check that one out if you are already feeling fatigued or extra crabby about what's going on in your life, especially now. Just understand that something that may be super taxing for you might be something that someone else really aspires to have. A party, a family, an annoying brother, something like that. So people obviously have different reactions to things, and sometimes we forget to value things. But really, it's just being aware of the time, energy, and resources and how life is seriously messing with you right now. And don't feel bad about it, and understand that it's normal. Now, moving forward to the future. You're already equipped with all that stuff about, don't make resolutions, instead systems, not goals. The exception to that is something that you normally can simply check a box for. Okay? If there's something in your life that is a yes or no, I'm going to always put my keys on the desk so I don't forget them anymore because it drives me crazy. I'm always going to feed the dog first before I do this other thing. I'm always going to feed me first. I'm not going to drink coffee past 2. Stuff like that. That's fine to make a resolution for. Check that box all you want and just say, that's my resolution. But if you say, I resolve to lose weight, yeah, that's not going to happen. Unless you, of course, are extremely motivated by a life-changing event or something like that. But that's where you do the system, not the goal. And that's where you go to my sheet that's online, that's completely free with no obligation to fill out. It's the 5-column sheet that is deceptively simple. I just had somebody fill that out. They filled the heck out of it. In fact, they filled so much stuff out, I think they went, oh, I get it. And then I never heard from them again. And that's fine. But that's what the form does. So feel free to fill it out. If you want to chat about it, we can. But go ahead and do that. That will really help you with resolutions and things moving forward if you want. In 2020, I have a number of guests already locked in, confirmed. And obviously, we're talking about human beings that are busy people. If somebody's locked in, they still could say, sorry, I can't do this, or let's push it up or push it back or whatever. But I do have 2 people locked in that I want to post in January. So as part of the new year, you're going to get a couple treats. And one of them is somebody who's a world record holder. Sort of. Well, they were and then they weren't. They were for a few seconds. A very, very interesting person that I think it's going to be really fun to chat with. The other person is somebody who's actually a presidential candidate, but you know them for something other than their run for the president. See, they have a very interesting past. They have created and invented something that you are quite aware of, and I think you'll really enjoy listening to them. More on that in the future. Sometimes I get asked about guests. I actually did create a post about guests so that if you want to be a guest on the show, you should probably just read it very quickly. It's a fairly simple common sense thing, but some people really miss out on that. And it has to do with just the end result of people who listen to the show when I do it, I do interview someone. And it's not so much an interview as it is more of like a cordial conversation with a direction. And so I love working very hard to have good conversations with people and then have the person that I interviewed say, wow, I'm used to LA interviews. This was really cordial. Or someone says, wow, your questions were unusually insightful. I really like that. And I work really hard to make sure that it's an enjoyable thing for the person on the show and it's enjoyable for you so that you go, well, why didn't you ask him this? Or, wow, that was really interesting. And then you went, oh, that's right. Oh, by the way, you have a cat, just trying to keep things in line with everything. So that being said, if you know of someone who you think would be excessively interesting to have a chat with me, feel free to send them to me or feel free to contact me. And I will see what I can do to get them on the podcast. And you could remember that a podcast connection and review with me is never going to be more than an hour unless it's extreme circumstances and the person is just infinitely fascinating and wants to put up with me for that long. I try to keep it short, half hour to an hour for that. It is not a rapid fire question and answer session. It's something a little bit more interesting. It's as if you sat down and said, here, have a coffee, have a martini. Let's talk. Boy, I've always wanted to ask you this. How does this work in your life? Because it is about time, energy, and resources. And it's fascinating to not just go, oh, you wrote a book or you did this, but so what did you do today? Like, what does Friday mean for you? Being a millionaire, what does Friday mean to you? What does Friday mean to you being a world-class athlete? Is it any different? Do you get up? Do you lay in bed? What about your kids? How does that work? Things like that we really want to know as like quote unquote normal people. And I know I'm using that term really loosely when I talk about myself, but you know what I mean, right? I mean, as normal people. So I find it very fascinating. If you have someone, feel free to direct them to me. I really appreciate the direct connections. I found people of even the highest levels so far. The people that communicate with me directly seem to be the people that definitely lock in. When there are a lot of scheduling people in between me and them, things get into a gray area. But regardless, that's enough information on that. So I'm just saying, looking forward to having more guests, writing more articles. As of this recording, which I'm at the 12-minute mark, which is frightening for me, I try to keep it to 10. I'm not sure if I'm going to have any more podcasts before the end of the year. So if I am not, and this is the last time you hear me before 2020, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want you to be safe but happy. I want you to do the things you want to do. I want you to enjoy yourself. And don't beat yourself up for not doing exactly what everyone else is. If Christmas means to you something slightly different than other people, you have a different way of celebrating it, that's fine. You go. You be you. All right? And I have always appreciated you listening in. Again, a shout out to India, where I'm 31 in health and mental health last week. So hi. And again, a shout out to the Bahamas, where I was number 1 2 weeks ago. I think I'm at 5 now. So either way, and anyone else who from around the world is saying hi, I'm going to say hi to you too. Thank you. And again, Merry Christmas. Hey, it's me again. Thanks for listening. 2 things for you. If you like this, I'd really love that you rate it on iTunes or Spotify. Would love to have the stars that are appropriate, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And the other thing is, I do have a new book out, and I would love for you to take a peek at it. It's called The Sword and the Sunflower. It's on Amazon as a Kindle as well as a paperback. Thanks. Just a little blurb at the end here. Take care.